Welcome back. Going to get back to work on Dolly. I think I'm going to work on something that I've been procrastinating and putting off, and that's the rear differential. I've got a bit of a tough decision to make on which differential I'm going to use. The first one that I took apart, if you recall from a previous video, let's see if this will cradle it. Yeah, that works. Yeah, this one, the casing had been broken at one point and re-welded, and that is right here. It's a little bit sketchy. I'm not sure that it's perfectly flat with the rest of this, with this flange. The weld itself, I think, is probably strong enough. So structurally, I think it's okay. But I'd have to take a little extra care to make sure that that seals. Now, the reason I'm even considering this one is, let's see now. This one doesn't seem to have, actually it doesn't seem to have any backlash, so maybe it's too tight, but it certainly well, there's a little bit, that's almost perfect. I did get myself some Prussian blue, so I can put some on the ring gear and turn it a bit and see what the contact pattern looks like. But I mean, this one certainly has a very, very small amount of backlash in the gear. And the other one, well, the casing is in better shape. That's got a little bit more backlash. I don't have the dial gauge to actually check and make sure it's within spec. And I've been spending so much the last little while between, I just ordered tires. I got all the rubber off the rims. I've got them back over here. I've got to clean up those wheels and get them ready to accept the new rubber. I've just ordered parts to fix the motorhome, do the brake job on it. So yeah, it's been spend. So yeah, I think I'm going to try and get away for the moment without buying more tools. So yeah, I've got to make a decision. See, that's God, I don't know if you can actually even see the movement there, but and if I hold that, you can certainly hear it a lot more. Now, this one, the input shaft looks dry. This one, the input shaft is wet, so I'm definitely going to have to pull the hub, the flange off of that, and somehow figure out how to get that oil seal out of there and change the oil seal on that one if I'm going to use it. I would probably do the same with this one, regardless. Yeah. So I guess the next thing I do is use some brake clean, try and clean up those gears a bit, put the Prussian blue on, see what my contact pattern is, in particular on the one with the welded case, because I think that's the one I'm going to go ahead and use. I don't know. I mean, if I took all the guts from that one and put them in the other one, you definitely have to start over again with the shimming and the contact pattern and everything. So I don't know. As far as the housings are concerned, or the axle housings, I've got two to choose from, and I don't think there's a lot of difference in those. I could pick either one. I will have a look at the ends and see what the bearing surface, or at least the sealing surface, is on the ends, and I'll pick the best one, but I really don't think there's much difference. So yeah, I'll get these things cleaned up, put a little Prussian blue on, and then we'll do a little test and see what we're looking like for contact pattern. Okay, well, I was out of brake clean, and so is the local store, so I cleaned this up with a bit of Varsol in the Varsol tank. But now, when I spin it around, it's certainly not moving very smoothly. You can really hear that clatter. I'm thinking it's not sounding so good. I'm going to clean up the other one and see, but I'm not sure how. It doesn't sound very normal anyway. So I'll clean the other one up, and then I'll be back. Now, this is the one with the that had the broken case, but I feel like the gears are in better shape. Oh, I don't know. It's quieter when I turn it, as long as I keep a little bit of resistance. Otherwise, you do get some clattery. So I guess it's not that uncommon, but it does turn smoothly, whereas the other one, you could feel the gears as it went around. Now, my intention here, I'm going to put the Prussian blue on. I'm going to put it on in about 3 places, and then I'm going to just try and make sure these are dry. I've got a little art brush. Not quite sure if that's the right way to use it. But anyway, there it is. Paint the tooth, a couple of teeth. Actually, I think you're supposed to do both sides, even the backlash side, so we'll do that. You can see what kind of a pattern we're getting on both sides of the gear. So now I'm going to spin it around about 1/3 of the way, around there somewhere. And doesn't mention any kind of a waiting time. So I'm going to spin this around. I don't know. I got to get it into a better position to rotate it for myself anyway. And I'm going to hold my hand on it so I've got a little bit of resistance. And I'm turning it clockwise, which I believe is the correct direction. That would be forward direction anyway. Well, let's see what it looks like. I need some light. That's not looking very good. I'll bring you guys in here to have a look. Let's bring it over here. Now, if you can see, it appears, just a minute, it appears that it's making contact right near the inside circumference, not in the center of the tooth like it should be. I'll swing it around to the next one. Oops. Let's see now. Yeah, you can see that. The Prussian blue towards the outside isn't touched. So I definitely don't have a good contact patch. Go around to the last. Now, somewhat surprisingly, that one looks like that contact patch is a little bit longer. I'm not quite sure what that means. Perhaps it is not quite running true. Interesting. Wish I could keep that light in a better spot. Anyway, that seems to be what I'm seeing. So that means that the pinion has to come in further, which will make the eliminate some backlash, and we might have to shift the crown wheel over a little bit to get our backlash back, because you do want a little bit. It's supposed to be, I have to go back to the spec. It's like, was it 5/1000 of an inch or 0.5 of an inch or something? It's a small amount of backlash. I'm gonna go and read the manual again. But yeah, so either way, I guess I have to make some adjustments on this thing. So if I'm doing that, I might as well take all this lot, put it in the good case, make my adjustments, and yeah. Interesting. Just for fun, oops, I'll back you away a little bit here. And I don't know, can you see this? Yeah, you can. This old woodworking clamp works just great for mounting that thing, for holding it. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to take this out of the clamp. I'm going to put the other one in. I'm going to do the same thing with it. I know it needs adjusting. So I'm not sure which innards to use in that case. But just so I've got a reference and a starting point, I'm going to do the Prussian blue on the other differential and see what I got. You can see the clean patch now is more centered. Looks like it could still move in a little bit, but it's like on the other one, the clean part was right on the inside edge, and only half of the tooth was even being contacted. Whereas here, it's a little bit more centered, and I think that if we get rid of that all that backlash, we might end up with a better contact patch than with the other set of gears. Let me go around to the next spot. Now, you see that? Let's see now. That's probably the best right about there. And I mean, that contact patch looks almost perfect. Like it's a very large contact area and it's somewhat centered. So considering how much backlash we've got, I'm a little surprised. Again, looks very good. And looking up at this other one up here, you can see it doesn't look too bad on the backside either. Not sure how well all this is showing up. I'm staring at a very small screen on this camera, so I think it should show up quite well. Okay, so I'm going to try and use this one. I'm going to pull it apart. I have to change the seal in here anyway. I wish I had a little more experience doing this, because I know that if I put the pinion back in the exact same location and I move the crown wheel over, it's probably going to change that contact spot. But anyway, it's going to be trial and error. And yeah, to move the crown wheel over, unfortunately, I understand that they put the shims on the inside of the bearings, so the bearings have to come off in order to move shims around. And every time you take the bearings off, you run the risk of damaging them. If I just move the pinion in, I might try that first before pulling those bearings off. But it might move. Oops, didn't mean to kick you. I think I'll see what that does to my pattern before I start messing with the shims under these bearings. Anyway, time to pull it apart, and it's going to be a learning experience. That's for sure. See how much lash there is there? That's definitely too much. Okay, let's see what we can do about it. I don't want to get too forceful with this thing, but it doesn't want to come. I can see that I have moved it, but I don't want to knock it off onto the floor. There it is. My 3-jaw puller didn't really want to grab on that, so I used the bearing puller. Oh, that was too easy. It took me 20 minutes to find all the bits and everything and set up my puller and getting ready for a fight, and it just came off way too easy. I won't complain though. Okay. Where do I go from here? There's a rubber seal on this side. Then there should be some shims in there. When I pull the pinion gear out, there should be some shims in behind there. And moving those shims around, I should be able to bring this in a little bit, and I don't know how much. And I might have to adjust the shims and move the whole differential gear, the planetary gears, over a little bit. And I'm not looking forward to taking those bearings off. I might have even bought new bearings for that, I don't remember. Okay. I've got a bit of a dilemma. On this differential, the contact patch was very good, but I have too much backlash. In order to eliminate the backlash, I've got to move the ring gear closer to the pinion. Now there are shims in behind both of these bearings. The bearings, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but there's a little bit of play in them, and I'm not quite sure how much is acceptable. In order to change the shims, the bearings have to come off. There is no way to get a bearing puller in there onto the inner race. It's not a good idea to pull a bearing off by the outer race unless you're throwing it in the garbage. So I've got a bit of a dilemma. There's lots of information online on how to adjust things, but they don't tell you really how to get difficult bearings off. I'm thinking about just putting a puller on the outer race, but applying heat to the inner race, and hopefully if I heat it up fairly quickly, it will expand quicker than the I don't know what you call that, the stub on the differential, and loosen up and come off without having to apply too much force. If I have to remove the bearings, I think that's what I'm going to try. And worst case scenario, I guess I have to buy new bearings. But they're not cheap. The inside, I don't know what you call those gears inside the carrier, but they seem to be in pretty good shape. There's not a lot of play in there. I think they're serviceable. I do have a little bit of an idea trying to take advantage of the little bit of play in those bearings. I don't know if it would work, but I'm going to go over to the bench here. And what I'm thinking is if I loosen off the nuts on this side, if I get in here with something, a punch of some sort, and push the outer race over, taking up that play, and then recheck my backlash. If I'm able to reduce the backlash somewhat that way, then I would be able to possibly put a shim behind the outer race on this side to help move everything over. I don't know if that is feasible or not. But yeah, I think what I'm going to do is try that little experiment and see if I can take up some of the slop by. And I'll work on this one because it's still together. If you recall, this one here, it doesn't have a lot of backlash, but the contact patch, well, you can see in there, but the contact patch is way towards the inside of that ring gear. So I don't know how much pushing it over closer to the pinion will correct that, but it may a little bit. Anyway, so I got a little bit of experimenting to do. On this one, I haven't been able to get that pinion out of its bearing. I've put a little bit of deep creep down in there and let it soak a little bit, but it doesn't want to come out of there, and I don't want to hammer on it too hard. I've popped on it a little bit with a dead blow hammer, but I don't want to hit it too hard because I don't want to damage the bearings. So once again, I may try, if I do decide I have to get it out of there, I may try a little bit of heat to that inner race and see if it'll expand on the shaft and drop out of there. But yeah, things are not going well. If you have any ideas, or if you totally disagree with what I'm doing, please let me know in the comments. I'm open to suggestions. Anyway, I'll be back. Try some of this stuff. And not get too aggressive. Okay, I think that experiment was a success. I'm gonna go get some feeler gauges and see if I can see how much of a gap I created there. I don't know if I can get you in here close enough, but it looks like I've created a little bit of a gap in there. I have pushed that bearing over slightly, and as a result, on this one, which didn't have very much backlash to begin with, I don't seem to have any backlash now. So, in principle, I believe this worked. Oh, and look what I just realized. Wow. Wow. Let's see now. You see in here? Right the way across here? That's been welded. Looks like somebody did a pretty good job of it. But yeah, this is the same one, the same differential that had the welded case right in there. From there to there, a big just a minute. Yeah, right from there to there, it was welded back together. There was a big chunk that came out of it, and obviously it had quite a catastrophic failure. if that differential broke through there. So, like, wow. I'm surprised they were able to put that differential back on the road. Gee. The other side, let's see if I can bring it around to the other side. No welding on this side, just cracked on the other side. Well, that's interesting. Okay, well, I guess I'm choosing the right one to actually work on. This one I set aside, but I just wanted to see if my theory worked, and I think it does, so I'm going to put the other differential back together. I'm going to try the same thing, tap the bearings over and see how much that free play I can eliminate, because I just spotted some more welding. I bring this around. Let's see now. My light on again. Now I can see right down in here where there's been some welding. So obviously the weld is underneath this ring gear, and it appears like it was welded right the way across there. So it broke here, and on the other side, well, it broke right across here, but on the other side. So the whole thing broke completely in half. Wow. And they put it back together and put it back on the road. Okay. I'll be back. Well, this video is getting way too long, so I'm going to split it in two parts. Please come on back and see the conclusion, and if you like the video, hit the thumbs up, and please subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you for watching. See you on the next one. Have a good day.